delay.
Yeah.
Yeah, very sorry for the delay. We will start now. Good evening and wish you all a very happy new year 202232. Okay, right. We are going to start with fractions today. And I know most of you all may be knowing fractions and you must have handled it even earlier. But maybe for some of you it may be a revision, for some of you may learn a few new things, and some of you may learn to see the same things in a new way. Okay, so let's get started. Fraction is a part of the whole. Whenever we use fraction in language, what do we say? I'll come in a fraction of a second. So a fraction is never whole, it is always some part of the whole. And in maths, how we represent it? Denominator will tell how many parts are made of the whole. And numerator will tell how many parts out of that are taken. So 1 upon 3 will mean 3 parts of the whole are made and 1 out of that is taken. We read it as 1 upon 3, where 1 is the numerator and 3 is the denominator. So when we read of fractions, we will always read it as 1 upon 3. Okay. Now, when we write it like this, when the whole is made into, say, 4 parts and all 4 parts are taken, how will I write it? Denominator will tell how many parts are made and numerator will tell how many parts out of that are taken. So 4 parts out of 4 are taken means full is taken. You can always relate fractions and you can do these models at home. I would want all of you all to do models of fractions. You can use a chapati at home or a pizza bread, or you can make paper strips, and all the functions of fractions we can very easily demonstrate with very simple models, and you can have fun also and you will understand. So when the numerator and denominator are same, the value of fraction becomes 1. Now when the denominator becomes 1, if I write it as 4 upon 1, what will be the meaning of it? One part of the fraction is done. That means it is full, na? When I say the fraction is done into 1 parts and I'm taking 4 parts, means I'm taking the whole of it, all 4 parts. So when the denominator becomes 1, the value of the fraction is the value of the numerator, and it is a whole number. Or it can also be an integer. Minus 4 upon 1 is what? Minus 4. So this is how integers can be expressed as rational numbers. Can we express integers as rational numbers? Whatever tools we have gathered in the earlier topics, we are not going to leave them behind. We will always try to connect that understanding with our today's understanding. So can I write integer as a fraction? Yes. When an integer is written as n by d format, where d is 1, that integer is a fraction. And when I write the fraction in the format 0 upon something, when I make my numerator as 0, I'm writing it as 0 upon something. 0 upon 5, say. What does that mean? I'm making 5 parts and I'm taking 0 parts out. What will be the meaning of it? 0. So when the numerator is 0, the meaning of the fraction is 0. And when the denominator is 1, the meaning of the fraction is the value of the numerator. And now this case, when denominator is 0, this is slightly beyond our understanding. But this kind of fractions are not allowed is all we will learn right now. Okay, maybe in a little later time we can look more into the meaning of it. But we need to understand when we write 1, when we write 0, what becomes the value of the fraction. So I have already done this for you. You can again do it at home, decoding the meaning of numerator and denominator 0 and 1 as we move ahead with the fractions. Now, proper and improper fraction. Proper fraction when the numerator is smaller than the denominator. That is 1 upon. What is the meaning of it? I'm making 4 parts and I'm taking 1 out of it. It will be called as a proper fraction. And of course, when the numerator is smaller than the denominator, I'm always taking less number of parts than the number of parts made. So it is always less than 1. When n is smaller than d, if I'm making 10 parts, I'm taking something definitely less than 10. So it is never whole. So proper fraction is always less than 1. Less than 1. Okay. And improper fraction. Now the word itself says that it is improper fraction. And we define it as n greater than d. So I will call it, say, 4 upon 3. Now, how are we defining fraction? Denominator tells how many parts are made and numerator tells how many parts are taken. Now, I am making 3 parts and I am claiming to take 4 parts out of it. Does not fit in the definition of fraction. No? I cannot make 3 parts and take 4 parts. That is why probably it is called as improper fraction. Because if I want 4 parts, then what I can do is I can take 3 parts out of 3 parts from one whole, and then I will need another whole from which I will take 1. I've already made 3 parts of my chapati or pizza, and it's well divided, one for me, one for mama, one for papa, and the guest comes. Now he also wants a piece of pizza and we are not ready to reduce our amount. So what we do, we buy one more pizza and then we give him 1/3 of that. So whenever the numerator is greater than the denominator, understand that this value can never come in one whole. We need more than one wholes for an improper fraction. So an improper fraction always has one whole and a proper fraction in it. So when I say one integer, 1 upon 4, that means I have taken 4 parts from the first whole. I have taken 4 parts from the first whole and 1 part from the second whole. So it becomes 5 upon 4. How will I read it? Proper fraction I read, denominator is how many parts made, numerator is how many parts taken. Improper fraction I'll take, denominator is how many parts made of each whole. And then numerator will tell how many parts I am taking. So now suppose I am taking 2 wholes. And from each whole I am making 4 parts. And from the third whole, I am taking only 1 part out of 4. How will I write this? This will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 upon 4. I have made my whole, each whole into 4 parts, and then I want 9 parts. So I will need 2 holes for it, and then 1 part of the third hole. So 9 upon 4 becomes an improper fraction, always greater than 1. And this improper fraction can always be written as in this format, where it is 1 whole and 1 fraction. And how do I get it then? How do I convert this improper fraction? The other format will be called as the mixed fraction. Improper fraction can always be written as mixed fraction. So 1 integer 1 upon 4, if I want to convert it into improper fraction, what I will do, I will multiply the denominator by the whole number. 4 into 1 plus 1, that will be 5 upon 4. So this will be the improper form of it. This is the mixed form of it. The value of both is same. Both the improper and the mixed fraction indicate the same value. And now if I want to convert improper into mixed, what will I do? I will divide 5 by 4 by 4. आता हे active झालं. I will divide 5 by 4. 4 1s are 4. Remainder is 1. This quotient becomes the whole number part of it. The remainder becomes the numerator of the improper, and the divisor becomes the denominator of the improper. So 5 upon 4 becomes 1 integer 1 upon 4. Okay, so we have seen what are proper fractions, what are improper, what are mixed fractions. Now one more word, equivalent. This also you must have done. Suppose there is one pizza and I'm making 2 parts of it and I'm taking 1. I'm making 4 parts of it and I'm taking 2. I'm making 6 parts and taking 3, or I'm making 8 parts and taking 4. This may sound different, but look at the figure. Is the amount of pizza taken same every time? It is the half of the whole pizza. So even if I'm expressing all these fractions in different forms, eventually they are all meaning half. So all these fractions which eventually show the same value are called as equivalent. Valent is value. Fractions with equal value. And this form is called as the lowest form of this fraction because I cannot further reduce this. If I write it as 4 upon 8, I can divide both the numerator and denominator by 4 and I will get 1 upon 2. If I write 3 by 6, I can divide both numerator denominator by 3 and bring it to the lower form, lower form, lower form. But 1 upon 2 is the smallest form of it. So this is called as the lowest form of the fraction. And if I want to get the lowest form of the fraction, I have to divide both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. When I divide the numerator and denominator by the same number, or I multiply it by the same number. Look over here. This is 1 upon 3. 3 parts are made and 1 part of it is taken. I multiply both the numerator and denominator by 2 I get 2 upon 6. So what am I doing? Doing 6 parts and taking 2. Eventually same. I'm multiplying 1 upon 3 both by 3. I'm getting 4 upon 12. That is, I've done 12 parts and taken 4. Eventually, I've taken the same portion. If you compare and see, so when I want an equivalent fraction of some fraction, and we are going to use this property very much when we will be solving questions on fractions. So when I want an equivalent fraction, I will either multiply the numerator and denominator by some number, or I will divide it by some same number, and all such forms will be called as equivalent fractions. Their value is same. Lowest form we have already seen. We keep on dividing till we come to a form which cannot be further divided by any number, numerator and denominator. That becomes the lowest form. Okay. Now let us see one or two examples. 20 upon 24 is equal to what? Upon 18. I want some number over here by the way of which the value of this fraction and the value of this fraction will be same. Okay. Now 20 upon 24 if I'm taking, I can keep dividing. I need to find some divisor which will divide both. So I can start with the smallest. If I can divide both by 2, then I will get 10 upon 12. Can I further divide it by 2? Yes. Then I will get 5 upon 6. Can I further divide by something? No. So 5 upon 6 becomes the lowest form of this fraction. Now this 5 upon 6, I need to convert to something upon 18. What can I see? 6 3s are 18. So if I want an equivalent fraction, I will have to multiply the numerator also by 18. Then I will get 15 upon 18. So 20 upon 24, when I write equal to 15 upon 18, it will mean the same. You can do a model of this. What kind of model you can do? You can make a paper strip. Make 24 equal parts of it. Make 24 equal parts of it and take 20 out of them. Then take a paper strip of the same length, make 18 equal parts of it and take 15 and check whether these two lengths are coming same. Will that prove that 20 upon 24 is 15 upon 18? So you can do live models and consolidate, make your understanding concrete. Okay, so this was one way of finding the answer. There is one very, very clever observation. Those who have a very clever observation. If you look at 24 and 18, is 18 3/4 of 24? Is 18 3/4 of 24? 24 is a half kai. What is half of 24? 12. What is 3/4 of 24? 18. So if the denominator is 3/4 of 24, my numerator should be 3/4 of 20. 15. Ta-da! Answer in 10 seconds. So if you have clever observation, you can skip a lot of calculation, and this type of fast thinking becomes your most effective tool as you go ahead for competitive exams. You need fast and correct thinking and skip all the steps in between and land on the answer correctly and confidently. So you need to develop this kind of observation. Now let us look at this. 5 upon 9 is p plus 4 upon 45. Now can I clearly see 9 5s are 45? So if I want an equivalent fraction to this, 5 multiplied by 5 must be p plus 4. Only then it will become equivalent fraction. I get an equivalent fraction when I multiply the numerator and denominator by the same number. So what is 5 into 5? 25. So 25 is p plus 4. So what must be p? 21, no? No need to do any calculation also. But if you want to do calculation, then 4 goes on this side, as we saw last time, plus becomes minus. So p becomes 25 minus 4, that is 21. Okay, so we can find equivalent fractions either by dividing or multiplying the numerator and denominator by the same number. Let us move on to the next thing. Now, a very common question that is asked is, when is a fraction positive and when is it negative? Please understand that when both the numerator and denominator get a minus sign, it means plus. 2 upon 3 and 2 upon minus 3 is the same. And when one of it has a negative sign, then it is like minus sign on the whole fraction. So 2 upon minus 3 is equal to minus 2 upon 3 is equal to minus of 2 plus 3. Minus of 2 upon 3. Common sign for the fraction. Please understand, when both are plus or minus, it is as good as plus. When one of it is minus, it is as good as minus. So now out of these 4, let us find which fractions are positive and which are negative. 0 upon minus 6, is it positive or negative? What have we learned? When numerator is 0, the value of the fraction is 0. So this fraction is neither positive nor negative. It is 0. Look at this, numerator negative, denominator positive. So this is a negative fraction. What about this? Both are negative. So this is a positive fraction. And what about this? 8 upon minus 15. So this is negative. So out of these 4, which is not negative? Both A and C are not negative. But A is 0. A is neither positive. And C is positive. Okay, one quick example to make you understand what will be the signs of fractions. Now, if I want to find out if 2 fractions are given and I wish to find out which of it is greater or smaller, we are going to look at 3-4 methods to compare fractions. First case is when the denominator of 2 fractions is same. When the denominator of 2 fractions is same, how will you find which fraction is smaller or which fraction is bigger? Simple. If the denominator is same, meaning same number of parts of the whole are done. One pizza is made in 4 parts. Then which will be bigger? 3 parts taken or 1 part taken? Obviously 3 parts taken. When the denominator is same, that means equal number of pieces are made. When I take more parts, I will get greater fraction. I'm making 3 parts of whole. When I'm taking 2 parts, that will be greater than when I take 1 part. So when D is same, greater the numerator, greater is the fraction. Now when N is same, so one whole I'm making 2 parts and one whole I'm making 3 parts. Denominator is different. And I'm taking one part out of this and one part out of this, which is bigger. Where D is small, part is big. And where D is big, part is small. So when numerators are same, denominators are different, smaller denominator will tell the bigger part and bigger denominator will tell the smaller part. Please make strips of all this. It's very interesting. You can make strips and do all these things, demonstrate. So that will, you may feel, why am I doing all this? It is very easy. I know all this. But your basics should be very, very strong, because we need to play a lot with all these concepts as we go ahead. And if the concept is not clear, there is some ambiguity in your mind, then you're going to make small mistakes ahead. Now, sometimes I will need to know which fraction is bigger and which fraction is smaller for fractions which have different numerator and different denominator. For example, 2 upon 3 and 5 upon 7. Can I demonstrate with figures? I want you to do this at home. Equal size strips. One strip make 3 parts, take 2. Another strip makes 7 parts, take 5. You can demonstrate with strips, which is bigger, which is smaller. But today also some people are writing lines on the board. Please don't do that.
Arnav Loda, do you want me to remove you from the meeting? Stop writing immediately.
Yeah, don't write on the screen. Focus on what I'm talking. We are meeting for just 1 hour, 3 hours in whole week. How many hours are there in full week? 24/7 hours. Who knows 24 table? In those many hours, we are meeting for only 3 hours. So please be focused and try to grasp what we are trying to give you. We are trying to build a very good base for you so that you'll be able to do good maths as you go ahead and you start enjoying maths. That is our purpose. Now, when the numerator, denominator both are different, how will I find which is bigger, which is smaller? I told you one method is strip. You can do that. Another very easy method, let me tell you, cross multiply. 7 2s are 14. Write the cross multiplication on the top of the numerator. 5 3s are 50. 14 is less than 15. So 2 upon 3 is less than 5 upon 7. Fastest method. Whenever I want to compare two fractions, cross multiply, and whichever numerator is small, that fraction is small. This is this method. And when I cross multiply, I can also equalize the denominator. Some of you all might have taught this in the school, that equalize the denominator. 3 7s are 21, then make 2 upon 3 as 14 upon 21, make 5 upon 7 as 15 upon 21. Then when denominators are same, smaller the numerator, smaller the fraction. This is okay, but sometimes this is too big to calculate. Cross multiplication is the fastest way to compare two fractions which have different numerators and different denominators, and this becomes step 1 for this. This becomes step 1 for this. So I always recommend this method. When n and d both are different, always cross multiply and take the smaller product. Okay. Then there is one more very nice method. Sometimes out of all the fractions given to you, if you carefully observe, suppose I want to find the smallest fraction in 3 by 2, 7 by 5, 3 by 7 and 11 by 7. One thing what I can see is all 3 by 2, 7 by 5 and 11 by 7 are improper fractions. N is big and D is small. So they all are going to be greater than 1. Obviously, 3 upon 7 is the smaller one because it is smaller than 1. Another way, suppose instead of 11 upon 7, it was 5 by 7. Then what we can see is 3 upon 7 is less than half. Why 3 upon 7 is less than half? What will be half? 3 upon 6 will be half, no? Or 3.5 upon 7 will be half. So when the numerator is less than half the denominator, or when the denominator is more than double of the numerator, double the numerator, 3 2s are 6, 7 is bigger. So this is less than half. So out of all the 4 fractions, the fraction which is less than half is the smallest. The rest of the 3 will be greater than half. So whenever you will have these kind of questions where 3 or 4 fractions are to be compared, we are going to use a mix and match of all these properties put together. Then one more way of quickly differentiating, finding lesser or greater fractions, when the difference in the numerator and denominator is same. Look here, 3 and 5, difference is 2. 13 and 15, difference is 2. When I'm comparing two fractions with equal difference in n and d, the smaller pair is smaller fraction for proper fractions. Smaller pair is smaller fraction for proper fraction, and smaller pair is bigger fraction for improper fractions. Listen to me carefully. Smaller pair is smaller fraction. If the fractions are proper, smaller pair will indicate smaller fraction. If the fractions are improper, smaller pair will indicate big fraction. I want you to do this with strips or figures. Take a whole, make 5 parts, take 3. Take same size strip, make 15 parts, take 13. See which is bigger, which is smaller. Make 3 parts, same size, take 5. Make 13 parts, same size, take 15. 2 strips I will need here, 2 strips I will need. And see which is bigger. Eka पुढे एक लावून बघा, कुठचं मोठं होतं, कुठचं छोटं होतं. Okay? When you play like this, you will put all these things in your mind in a much better way, and your journey ahead will become very, very interesting and fast. Now let us come to operations on fractions. Can we add fractions? Yes, of course. Can we subtract fractions? Yes. Can we multiply? Yes. Can we divide? Yes. How do we add fractions? Is this very simple? If the denominators are same. Simply add the numerators. 2 upon 5 plus 1 upon 5. I have made 5 parts of the whole. I am adding 2 parts to 1 part. How many parts? 3 parts. D is same. Just add the numerators and get the answer. Keep the D as same. Subtraction also same. D is same. Just subtract the numerator and you will get the answer. When the N and D are different, when the N and D are different, we need to make them equalize by cross multiplication. Suppose I want to add 2 upon 3 plus 1 upon 2. Once again, fastest method is cross multiply. 2 2s are 4 written here. 3 1s are 3 written here, and multiply the denominators to give me 6. So this becomes 4 plus 3, 7 upon 6. 2 2s are 4 plus 3 1s are 3 upon 6. 7 upon 6, or if I want to convert it into mixed, it will be 1 integer 1 upon 6. Subtraction, same rule. 2 2s are 4 minus 3 1s are 3 and 1 upon 6. And always remember, the last answer should always be in the lowest form. If this is not the lowest form, we convert it to the lowest form. So we can add or subtract fractions with same or different denominators, and multiplication is all the more same. all the more easy. If I want to multiply two fractions, simply multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. 2 upon 3 into 3 upon 4, 2 3s are 6, 3 4s are 12. 6 upon 12, but my final answer should always be 1 upon 2 in the lowest format. Okay. And when I want to divide two fractions, division is opposite of multiplication. So when I divide 4 by 3 by 2 by 3, I will take the reciprocal of this. So 4 upon 3 is multiplication of 3 upon 2, reciprocal of this. And what is multiplication? 4 3s are 12, 3 2s are 6. So 12 upon 6, which is 2. So division is multiplication by the reciprocal of the second fraction. Now, why it is like this? Very quickly, I would like to explain what is exactly division. Look at the picture, all of you. When I say 10 divided by 5, I can read it as divide 10 in 5 parts. Each part is equal to 2. Or I can read it as divide 10 such that each part is 5. Then I get 2 parts. In both cases, answer is 2. But I'm reading it separately. So 10 divided by 5 can also be 10 multiplied by 1 upon 5. Opposite of this. And what is 10 into 1 upon 5? 2. So 4 upon 3 divided by 2 upon 3 can also be read as 4 upon 3 multiplied by 3 by 2. And now if I read this like this, we can say 4 upon 3 divided by 2 upon 3 or divide 4 upon 3 such that each part is 2 upon 3. Divide 4 upon 3 such that each part is 2 upon 3. So how many such parts I will get? This and this will be 1 2 upon 3 and this will be one more 2 upon 3. So totally there will be 2 parts such that each part is 2 by 3 when I divide 4 by 3. Okay. You will read all this what I have written very carefully after I send the notes today. So this is how we understand why division is multiplication by the reciprocal. Now BODMAS rule, all of you all know, if there is any expression, then the correct answer obtained by using BODMAS should always be taken as the valid answer, and the answer without BODMAS is considered as wrong. This one example, suppose I take 3 plus 6 divided by 3. If I don't use BODMAS, if I go from left to right, first I'll do 3 plus 6, 9. Divided by 3 is 3. I get answer 3, but it is without BODMAS. And if I go by BODMAS, I'll have to do division first. So I'll do 6 divided by 3, that is 2, and then 3 plus 2, 5. So I get a different answer when I'm using BODMAS and when I'm not using BODMAS. So which should be taken correct? The one which I get by using BODMAS. Always remember, whenever you do any such expressions as you go ahead, if you are getting 2 different answers, then the answer with the BODMAS is to be taken as the right answer. Now, I want you to find some more such pairs where the answer is different with BODMAS and without BODMAS. And sometimes with BODMAS and without BODMAS, the answer will come same. You will also think why it is happening like that. In some cases, why the answer is coming same with BODMAS and without BODMAS. We had started a little late, so we may have to continue a little late today. I hope it is okay with you. Let us take a quick look at the examples. I have to do this 2 upon 7 plus 9 upon 14 divided by this. So many operations are there. So what will I do? I'm definitely going to use BODMAS. Division is reciprocal multiplication. But first, inside, I will have to do open the brackets. First, I will need to open the brackets. So when I want to open the brackets, the quickest way will be if I can take the equivalent fraction of all these. I will be able to add and subtract very quickly. So I can see it is 7, 14, 28, 7. All are multiples of 28. So I can quickly convert them to denominator 28. 7 fours are 28. So 2 fours are, I will get 8. So 2 upon 7 is 8 upon 28. Then 14 twos are 28. So 9 twos are 18. So 9 upon 14 is 18 upon 28. Then 23 upon 28 as it is. And 3 upon 7 will be again 3 fours are 12 upon 28. I hope everybody has understood this step. I have made all denominators into 28. Then opening the bracket is very easy for me. Now I'll simply have to add the numerators. This will become 26 upon 28. And this will become 23 minus 12, that is 11 upon 28. And now this is division. So I will have to make the reciprocal of this. So this becomes 26 upon 28 multiplied by 28 upon 11. 28 gone. Answer is 26 upon 11. You can convert it to mixed fraction. I'm not doing it. You will do it yourself because we are slightly short of time. Then the second question. Look at this question very carefully. How many times 2 upon 7 to be added to 3 upon 7 to get 3? So what is given to me? 3 upon 7 is given to me. Three upon 7 is given to me. And I want to add 2 upon 7 sometimes. How many times I have to find? And I want the answer 3. Please look at this question very carefully. I cannot change the denominator. My denominator is 7. And when my denominator is 7, when will my answer come 3? When my numerator comes 21. Answer will be 3. Now I have 3 upon 7 and my answer should be 21 upon 7. Then what do I need to add to it? 21 minus 3, 18. 3 upon 7 plus 18 upon 7 will give us 21 upon 7. But they are asking 18 upon 7. 18 upon 7 will give me 21 upon 7. But they are asking me to add 2 upon 7. So 18 upon 7 will be 9 times 2 upon 7. 18 upon 7 will be 9 times 2 upon 7. So my answer over here will be 9. If you read the question carefully, I need to add 9 times 2 upon 7 to 3 upon 7 to get answer 3. Okay, think carefully on this question and you will be able to do it. Of course, I will be sending the solutions, but not today. I will send it after our Tuesday lecture. Till then, you have to read the notes carefully and see the YouTube video and do it yourself. 3/5 of a number is 81. There is some number I'm making 5 parts of it. And when I'm taking 3 parts of it, what is the meaning of 3/5? 3 parts of 5. When I'm taking 3 parts out of 5 of a number, this is 81. So can I find how much is 1 part? It will be 81 upon 3, no? If 3 parts are 81, then 1 part will be 81 upon 3, that is 27. And if my 1 part is 27, can I find how many will be 5 parts now? 27 into 5. So 3 is 81. 1 part will be 27, and I want the full number. Means what I want? I want 5 by 5. We've seen that when n and d is same, it is 1 whole. So I first divided by 3 and then multiplied by 5. See, let's see how we can do this with x. If the number is x, 3 upon 5 of x is 81. What am I doing to find a number? First, I'm dividing it by 3 and then I'm multiplying it by 5. So, am I multiplying 81 by 5 by 3? Iska ulta? Did I not tell you? Across this magic river, n becomes d and d becomes n. So when you take a fraction on the other side of equal to, it becomes reciprocal. So 3 upon 5 of x is equal to 81 into 5 by 3. Answer will be 27 into 5, whatever it comes. Understood? Let us go ahead. Lot of thinking will come. You might have thought initially that ये तो बहुत ही easy topic है, लेकिन जैसे जैसे questions आ रहे हैं वैसे वैसे समझ में आएगा, उतना easy नहीं है. Now, Aarti has total 48 flowers. 1/3 of that is roses. This is pretty easy. 1/3 of 48 will be 60. Half are mogra. Half of 48 is 24. So, remaining are xi. So how many xi? Simply add 16 plus 24 and subtract it from 48. So 48 minus 16 minus 24 will be xi flowers. There is one more method of doing. Now you are not going to restrict yourself to the method I am telling. The other day we did Ketki, Kanchan, Kaveri, Pebble wala question. Afterwards I realized we can easily do it without x. The smallest minimum pebbles, you can take it as a line. The other girl, middle girl, had 3 pebbles more. And the third girl had 7 pebbles more. So, how many extra pebbles? 10. Subtract it from 43, 33, and then divide 33 in all those 3, 11, 11, 11. So, this is 11, this is 14, and this is 11 plus 7. But this method should come in your mind because we have already done one sum of this type. So you should not restrict yourself to what I'm talking. I'm giving you tools. You have to see how to apply this tool in that question, that tool in this question. Now 4 fractions are having equal denominators. What do we know? When the denominators are equal, when the denominators are equal, sum of the numerators gives us the sum of the fractions. Now there are 4 fractions and the denominator is same and the sum of the fractions is 4. If the sum is 4, what is the meaning? Their numerators are 2 plus 4 plus 5 plus 1. So 4 plus 2, 6, 6 plus 5, 11 plus 1. If the numerator sum is 12 and I want the answer to be 4, what has to be the denominator? 3. Only when the denominator is 3, if the numerator sum is 12, answer will come 4. So this is a very common sense question, that if my answer has to be 4 and the sum of numerators is 12, the denominator has to be 3. Answer will be 3. Next question. To find 1/4 of 20, Sanket multiplied 20 by 4. He did ulta. He had 1/4 of 20 is actually 20 divided by 4. No? So his answer should have been 5. Correct answer. But instead of that, he multiplied it by 4. So he got the answer 80. By how much is his answer more or less than that of the correct answer? It is more by 75. Correct answer is 5. Wrong answer is 80. So his wrong answer is more by 75 than the correct answer. Okay. Let's go to the next. Okay. Now I will leave this for your homework. Let us not do it. In which of the following operations the answer by using BODMAS and by not using BODMAS is same? I want to leave this for homework. You can do it. And then after observing these operations, can you come to some conclusion when the answer with and without BODMAS comes same and when it does not come same? Try many such expressions with 3 numbers and various operations: plus, minus, plus, into, minus, into, divide, into, multiply, plus, different combinations, and this will be your such question. All of you all are my young mathematicians, so you have to think a lot, do lot of questions, crisscross, and find out this. Okay, you have lot of time to do your discovery. When does BODMAS work and when it does not? Then look at these fractions. Find the smallest fraction and find the greatest fraction of the set. I want to find the smallest fraction and I want to find the greatest fraction. Now, when I carefully observe these fractions, when for all such questions, you need a very careful observation and a mix match of all the methods that we have done: less than half, greater than half, a difference in numerator, denominator, common numerator, common denominator, all things applied together, and we come to the answer. Now, I want the smallest fraction. When I see 11 upon 4 and 31 upon 4 are improper fractions, so they are greater than 1, and these 3 are proper fractions, so they are smaller than 1. Now the smaller fraction will definitely be from these 3 which are smaller than 1. They cannot be from the improper fraction. So from the smallest fraction race, these 2 fractions are ruled out. Now I look at 3 upon 5, 3 upon 4 and 7 upon 10. I can either make all these 3 fractions with equal denominator 20. 3 upon 5 is 5 4s are 20. So 3 4s are 12. 3 upon 4 is 4 5s are 20. So 3 5s are 15. And 7 upon 10 is 10 2s are 20. So 7 2s are 40. So when I make their denominators 20, their numerators become 12, 14, 15. And then obviously 12 wala will be the smallest. That is, this becomes the smallest. This is one way of comparing these 3 fractions. I want you to find more than one ways. You can compare 3 by 5, 3 by 4 by common numerator rule. You can compare 3 by 5 and 7 by 10 by equating the denominator. So many ways, permutations, combinations. So try by some more ways, but the answer is 3 upon 5, the smallest one. And what about the biggest one? Now, for biggest one, obviously the ones which are smaller than 1 cannot be the biggest fractions. So these 3 are ruled out for the biggest fraction of the series. And when I look at 11 upon 4 and 31 upon 4, both are having the same denominator. So greater the numerator, greater the fraction. So 31 upon 4 will be the biggest of fractions. For all such questions, you have more than one ways to find the answer. These were the questions for discussion today. Okay, I think I have wrapped it up. Very sorry once again because I was trying to learn a new feature. Probably I landed up in some mess, but we have done it in 1 hour. So I will send the notes of this to you as our routine practice and a homework. And now we will be meeting directly on Tuesday. So you have 2 whole days. I want you to do all these questions once again in various forms. And I want you to do all models, make strips and do equivalent fractions, addition of fractions, comparison of fractions, subtraction of fractions using models. You can make paper strips, you can make paper circles, you can take real chapati, you can take real pizzas and enjoy fractions this weekend. We will meet on Tuesday. Okay, thank you. Stop for
Okay,
today.
thank you. Ending the meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.